Dean Legge here at a very dark Notre Dame stadium, wrapping up Georgia's 1-point win over the Irish, 20-19. It's hard to know really where to start when you see something like this. I mean, the Georgia fans, people. I don't think people doubt them necessarily, but this was amazing, and it just shows the commitment and the love that people have for a college football team. You know, something that's in the grand scheme of things not the most important thing in the world. I mean, you got a hurricane barreling down on the southeast, including what's probably going to come through a lot of these people's homes, and you know, and yet they're willing to travel and spend $5,000 to come to South Bend, Indiana, and watch Georgia play. And so it was a magical night for the Dogs, a 20-19 victory over Notre Dame. Okay, so I mean, obviously I have a lot of friends who I try to chat with during games if I can do it. Sometimes it's kind of tough. I sent a message to someone that I've trusted for a long time, and I just said to him, and he's a football guy, a pro football guy, and I said, look, Georgia's better than Notre Dame for sure. But there were moments when Georgia looked like they were trying to give this game away. Quarterback position, I mean, Jake Fromm's got to play better. I'm not going to criticize him. I'm not going to stand here and criticize him. He was 16 for – I'm not going to overly criticize him. He was 16 for 29 with an interception. Didn't like to play on that interception. He got sacked a couple of times. I'm not sure those were really on him necessarily. I thought he did what he had to do to get the job done. But in order for Georgia to go where it's got to go, if Jake Fromm's going to be the quarterback, he just has to play better. I mean, he has to hit deep ball. The deep ball was there, it looked like. He's just got to be more accurate with it. He's got to make a little bit better decisions. But I will put in perspective that, second game in college ever, didn't do anything too crazy, so that was a positive, and your team won. So all in the whole, a lot of discussion is going to be about Jake Fromm, Jacob Eason. I mean, it seems relatively clear to me that Jacob Eason is the better of the two right now, and so eventually he will come back and be the quarterback. But Jake Fromm's got to get them where they got to go for the time being. They can't play like that on offense and expect to beat Mississippi State and expect to win in Neyland. One or two more sort of negative things, if you want to call it that. I really would have given the ball to Nick more. I don't know. I think he's got to get kind of lathered up, and he needs the ball more. But I look, they know a lot. The coaching staff, Kirby, I mean, Jim Chaney, they know a lot more about, clearly know a lot more about football than I do. But I would just say that you'd want to get it to your playmakers a little bit more. The receivers, Terry Godwin, 5-star play, big-time catch. I thought he caught it. I was right there. I thought he caught it. I had a very good image of it myself. I was amazed because of the junk lens that I was using at the moment. But Terry made a great play. As soon as Georgia got the lead late, I was like, they're going to win. I was just waiting for them just to get the lead, period. I don't think they had the lead. If I'm not mistaken, they didn't have the lead until 17-16, and they gave it right back. So they didn't have the lead until late in the third, only about 20 minutes left to go in the game. But I knew Georgia was the better team. You could tell they were the better team. But, man, golly, they can't. I mean, this is a big win. Let's not act like it's not a big win. It's a big win. But you can't have that many dropped pick sixes. You can't have that many personal fouls. The whole defense was like grabbing face masks tonight. It's very uncharacteristic of them. You can't have I don't even know. So there were moments where Georgia just didn't play well. But you know who played well? 3 guys, particularly on defense. I mean, Trent too. But Roquan, of course, star. I mean, Davin was like a psychopath after the game. It was hilarious. And then, Lorenzo Carter. I mean, these guys are good, and it's about damn time. I know a lot of people are going to be really happy tonight, and they should be. I get it. But the truth is, this will work against Notre Dame. This will work. It might work against Tennessee and Mississippi State. I'm not sure it's going to work against the Gators. I'm not sure it's going to work against Auburn. So there's a lot to be cleaned up offensively for sure. Special teams were pretty good. I thought Rodrigo would miss the one he did. I was a little nervous he was going to miss the one that he made. But he knocked it in there, and as soon as he did, and there was only 3 minutes to go in that game. The other thing is, man, is it so? I mean, this is being negative too, but is it really that hard to get a first down? I mean, on 2nd and 1, I think it was 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, they couldn't get a yard, so that was disappointing. Because the game's over, then you just like you hear the fans can go scream and yell, but man, I was in Chicago last night, and it was Georgia takeover, big time. I've never seen this many people at a road game, never. I mean, this was an amazing show of passion, support, whatever you want to call it. Notre Dame people were unbelievably gracious. We only had one kind of difficult person the entire trip. They were great. They were way better than anywhere else I've been. And then, but the Georgia people were unbelievable, y'all. This is crazy to have. I don't know. It was at least 20. I was like, well, it'll be 15,000. And then I saw Chicago. Well, there's going to be 20,000. And then after a while here tonight, I mean, this is like a bowl game where, Georgia was playing in like Texas against USC or somebody. Like it was not split, but it was very close. And that was an amazing show of, my big thing with Georgia has always been, you've got to dream bigger, man. And you got to, it's there. Tonight, I hope that people understand how passionate people are about this thing. And maybe they don't need me lecturing them, and that's fine. But you have to understand how passionate everyone is about this football program. They love it. And it's not like other places. I'm sorry. Auburn wouldn't bring 30,000 people to Chicago. Clemson wouldn't bring 30,000 people to Chicago. I mean, we know Florida State and Miami barely bring 30,000 people outside of the state of Florida. So there's not a lot of people that would bring this many fans up here. It was Nebraska and Georgia. They both brought – and Nebraska was #1 team in the country that year and played for a national championship. This was a bucket list moment. I saw a lot of old friends. And people will never – forget talking about this. This goes up there with the blackout in 2007, the Sugar Bowl in 2008 or whatever, same season, whatever it was. People will say, were you there? And like, this is going to grow more and more and more. And eventually it'll be 80,000 Georgia fans in this stadium. But I mean, just as an observer, I've never seen anything close to this. Nothing. Georgia at Tech, it was similar to that. It was like, except, hello, we're in Indiana, northern Indiana at that. I'm just completely impressed. And I remember the first time I ever just like it occurred to me that, when I was an adult, that Georgia people are special in a different way. There's really no other program in the country that drives every year 6 hours to play a game and they bring 40,000 people plus. I've never seen anything like this except Nebraska. So Georgia fans, kudos. That was unreal. And there were as many, it looked like the Cubs were playing Georgia last night. It was insane. And this team, I don't think they can win the conference, but I think they should win the East for sure. Now it's starting to look like South Carolina might be the trouble. But this defense is legit. Got to have better play. From the quarterback position, got to have better play from the defense at like the pick six moments. That's really about it. I mean, you can't that game changes completely with pick six. I mean, Notre Dame's done. I don't know if Notre Dame's good or not. I can't tell. But like these early season games, this reminded me a lot of a South Carolina game, and like it's a tough place to play, and like the panic you could feel in the air, the early season not really knowing what you are yet. I'll say this: this team is tough, and they can do some things. I mean, there's no reason they can't play in the Orange Bowl or the Cotton Bowl or the Peach Bowl. I mean, that should be something that should happen this year. Georgia defeats Notre Dame 20-19, really a classic game, and congratulations to the Dogs. But I know, now listen, you're going to get this. It's going to be too late, but y'all try to behave yourselves. I know you're not going to, but try. Dean Legge for Dog Post.